Welcome to the first video in my series, How to Be a Business Coach for Small Business. In this first video, we're going to cover what does a business coach do, how to become a business coach, how to be an online business coach, how to be a good business coach, and ultimately how to be both a life and a business coach at the same time. Let's go. So what does a business coach even do? Well, it depends on what kind of business coach you are. The best business coaches have a focus, they have a niche, and they have a specialty. But overall, no matter what kind of business you focus on, there are certain things that every client needs when you're a business coach. One of those things is accountability. Clients hire coaches because they want to make sure that they get things done. And so one of the best things that you can do or you can get from a business coach is accountability support. Another thing that business coaches do is they help you set goals and come up with strategies and structures to achieve those goals, plans of action, and then help you stay on top of those plans of action with your accountability. Another thing that business coaches do is that we help our clients identify pitfalls and blind spots. So a lot of times there's this phrase, you maybe have heard it, that you can't see the label of the jar you're in. Well, that's one of the biggest reasons that people hire us as business coaches. It's because they can't really see themselves from the outside, so they don't have good perspective. And so one of the things we can do for them is to give them that perspective, to show them what's happening or what's coming down the pipeline or what's not happening that needs to be happening that they might not even be seeing. For example, I had a business coach early on in my career who recognized right away that I was about to jump into a partnership with someone that was not an aligned match for me. And so that coach helped me to structure the agreement in such a way that it allowed me to leave if I should need to, which of course I ultimately needed to. Another thing a great business coach does is that they tell their clients the truth that sometimes nobody else will tell them. They speak the unspoken is the way I like to put it. And it's not an easy thing to do. That's why to be a really great business coach, you have to be a really great leader and communicator and be able to tell your clients the hard and difficult truths sometimes with a lot of compassion and love. And finally, and this is one of the more fun things that we get to do as coaches, is we get to see opportunities that our clients might miss. We get to show them the ways that they could step into an even bigger possibility in their business. We can show them opportunities to not just find ways to make more money, but also to find more joy and more happiness and more success in their personal life as it relates to their business. Because when our clients are doing well personally, when they're taking care of themselves, when they're meditating and doing exercise and sleeping well, then their businesses generally, naturally tend to grow. So we can be that cheerleader and that support person to help them have greater work-life balance and integration. So now that you know about what a business coach does, how do you become one? Maybe you're wondering, do you need a certification or something like that? Well, the truth of it is that you don't. You don't really need a certification. You don't have to have it. There's no governing body that's checking to make sure you have a license. That said, I do believe it's important to have skills and to have experience. So either getting a certification, which is fantastic, or having life wisdom and experience in your specific market, in your specific field, or ideally some combination of both. Now, here's what I'll tell you about myself. I'm a business coach. You see all my business coaching videos, but here's a little secret. I'm not certified. Now, even though I'm not certified by some coaching association, I do have an MBA. I actually graduated #1 in my class of business school. And I've been doing coaching in some fashion or other for 14 years. So I've built up a lot of experience in the business. But in hindsight, I probably would have benefited from some sort of coaching certification program because I had to learn a lot of it the hard way in the school of hard knocks. Now, in this day and age, so much of what we're doing is online. So you might be wondering, well, how do I become an online business coach? And the truth of the matter, in my humble opinion, is that it's pretty much the same as being a business coach, especially now when everything is done online anyway. A coach is a coach. The outcomes that you're able to help your clients with, have a lot less to do with the format that you're delivering it in than the value proposition, the structures, the systems, the concepts, and the methodology that you've developed. So that can a lot of times be delivered basically the same in person versus online. Now, one distinction I'll make here then, and this is because this is what I do and what I love, I do a hybrid model. So I actually integrate online with in-person. And the reason I do that is because I feel that we can convey very easily the strategies, the systems, the sales processes, all the things that we help our clients do, or that I help my clients do online. But there's this other component which we can also do online, but I find that it works even better when we do it in person, which is the internal work. It's the mindset work. It's the deep work. And I have a group model for my coaching business, which I highly recommend. And by the way, go ahead and check out my group coaching playlist, because I have all sorts of videos about how to build up a group coaching business model very successfully. Back to my original point, which was doing these things in person in a group allows us to go even deeper and develop even more intimacy and trust, which is good for the clients because they have bigger breakthroughs, and it's good for me. Why? Because when people have bigger breakthroughs, they have deeper experiences, they start to form bonds and want to stay together. And so that allows me to have clients for a long time. So I'm a big believer in group business models for coaching, and I highly recommend checking out that playlist I mentioned earlier. Now, of course, I know because you're watching me and you're drawn to my videos that you don't just want to be any old business coach. You want to be a great business coach. So what does it take to be great? Well, I've discovered over the years that it takes certain skills and talents. The first, I mentioned a little bit earlier, is you've got to know the industry. You've got to know business. You have some lived experience in the area that you're helping your client. That's my belief. And it also helps to have a really good ear. And what I mean by that is that you're able to listen deeply to what your clients are saying and also what they're not saying. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in coaching come from over here. What's not being said, what's being avoided, what's being alluded to, what's the body language, what's the energy of the client. Like really deeply listening to what's being said and not said, and really calling forward that unspoken piece. That's usually where the blind spots are. And so becoming a really good listener is essential. I know plenty of coaches who are outstanding coaches. They know their stuff, and they struggle to retain clients, or they even struggle to land clients because they don't know how to listen deeply. And they're always thinking about, what can I say next? What answer can I give? The secret to being an excellent coach is not to think that you have to have all the answers. Now that's weird, right? Because if you're somebody like me who was a straight A student and you wanted to be the best, you thought that the answer was always to have the answer, right? Like if somebody asks you a question, you should have the solution, right? And that's how you want to be with your clients. But in fact, coaching doesn't work that way. Consulting kind of does. In consulting, oftentimes clients are coming to you. They want a solution, you to build it, you to develop it, you to implement it. Coaching is different. Coaching is the process of helping your client discover themselves and step into greater and better versions of themselves. And that involves really more than giving answers. It really requires learning how to ask really good questions. So to give you an example, let's say you're working with a client and you've got this project, you're sitting in front of your client, I'm making this up on the spot, so forgive me, and your client keeps procrastinating. You know, they're just not getting the thing done. Every time you check in, oh, I didn't do it because of this reason, I didn't do it because of that reason, and you're recognizing, you're starting to realize, like, what's really going on here? There's something getting in the way. This is what a good coach does, right? Listens deeply and is like, okay, client, tell me what you're feeling every time you're supposed to do this work. And the client might share that, oh, you know, it just feels heavy. It's not very fun. And you can start to dig out and realize that maybe this project, they don't really want to do it. And they're only doing it because they feel like they should or they have to. Like if you're an excellent coach, you can help them figure that out early on before they've invested tons of time and energy into this thing that they don't really even like. That's one example of many. So in other words, a great coach knows how to coach in this area of expertise, has wisdom and experience, in this area, strategic, and is someone who can really go deep with a client and call them forward and help them create more alignment, more joy, more authenticity, and really do what lights them up. You know, I personally believe that why would you be a coach just to help somebody make more money? Now, I know there are plenty of people who just want that, but in my world, it's about really supporting someone to become their best self and have their best life. And one piece of that is making more money, but it's not everything. And lastly, I think one of the most important skills for being a great coach is willingness to bring the fire. Now, when I'm talking about fire, I mean like you love your clients, right? You want them to be the best, and there are moments where your clients are just not doing what they need to do. And bringing the fire is about calling that forward and like, listen, and not letting them off the hook and being like, okay, well, we'll talk about it next time. But really saying like, listen, client, you said you wanted this. What's going on? Talk to me. Like, don't you want this vision? How badly do you want it? And bringing that fire and helping that client step up into what they're truly creating. Now, a lot of coaches, a lot of people are not good coaches because they back off. And they don't want to offend the client, they don't want to upset the client, and they don't then really serve the client because they're not being truthful and honest. And I believe that's what clients pay for. I call it truth supported by love. When there's truth telling and they know that there's love, they're able to hear it. It's not truth telling from a place of blame or shame, but rather truth telling from a place of, listen, I'm here to support you and help you. What's going on here? Let's talk about this. Bringing that fire. And that last point brings me to our last point of this video, which is how to be a life and a business coach. Now, here's the thing. I think it's kind of a weird question, and I get it all the time, but the fact is that every business coach is a life coach in the sense that what I talked about earlier, a business coach is someone who helps a person create that integration. It doesn't work to just help somebody in their business if you're not looking out for these issues in their lives. It's so interesting how we compartmentalize different parts of our lives as if they were actually separate. We only have one life. It's all of it, right? And so, especially for women, I've found that if you're upset about something going on in your relationship, it's going to affect the way you show up on that sales call that day, right? And so a really great business coach, in my opinion, is also a life coach and addresses things like mindset and energy and physiology even, like self-care and sleep and food. And I believe that to be a great coach, you have to be willing to go into all the areas of someone's life to help them up level in their business. Now, there are 2 more videos to this series because there was so much content that I wanted to share with you. So please subscribe to my channel so that you get a notification for the next 2 videos. And if you're a coach who's looking to grow or scale his or her business, then I highly recommend visiting superstaractivator.com/go and setting up a time to talk to me about how I and my programs might be able to support you.